What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best 15 brawlers to max out for season 37 in Brawl Stars. So whether you're playing a lot of ladder, whether you're playing ranked or anything like that, these brawlers are going to be safe to max out. There's not going to be any balance changes probably for at least another 3 weeks until the update drops. And there's been a ton of balance changes shifting the meta quite a lot. So these are the ones that you want to be focusing your resources on the most. Before we jump into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already and checking out my streams over at about 6 PM UK time. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first brawler you must max out absolutely right now in the meta has to be Meeple. So I will say straight away that you can't just go in with randoms in Brawl with Meeple. That's the big no-no. Even though Meeple's good in Brawl and ranked, there's just too much Mortis and too much BB tank going on in the random meta. I don't know what is wrong with it. But for pro play, Meeple absolutely is a top 3 brawler in the game so easily. So the reason why Meeple's so good is because of his 2 gadgets, mainly mansions of Meeple. It just allows you to manipulate so many different matchups. And even if you're just limited in range, you can just use this gadget to push up the map. And then also, it's just a super. The super is just dumb broken, being able to shoot behind a wall and deal so much damage. I like to use the first star power because it adds an additional 600 damage. So if you quickly 2-tap people behind a wall, that's like 6,400 damage. That's gonna literally 2-tap so many brawlers in the game. And the good thing about Meeple as well is, of course, his main attack literally can't miss with it. And a tip with Meeple as well that people just tend to just do too much is they just spam out their attacks too much. What I like to do a lot of the time is making sure that I'm within the auto aim distance, and I'm spamming 2 or 3 pieces of ammo at the same time. So conserve your ammo. You've got a very slow reload speed, so don't just shoot like crazy. Only shoot when you know you're definitely going to hit. Next brawler you must max out for this season has to be Chester. So Chester received an emergency nerf with his hypercharge rate, but he's still one of the best brawlers in the game. This hypercharge is absolutely insane. It's busted, so you need to fully get his hypercharge for him to be a good brawler. Without it, he's still like a D-tier brawler in the meta. And then also Candy Bean's gadget is just such a good one. Being able to spam this out every 15 seconds, it's very, very good and useful. So it will take you a little while to charge through to this hypercharge, but it's still such a game changer. It allows you to get 1 kill with ease at least, and then if you get a really good connection with that first hypercharge super, you can probably cycle 2, maybe even 3 in a go and just team up the whole lobby. It's seriously that busted. And with very limited tank counters in the meta, he's going to be one of the best ones right now. This brawler must absolutely max out in this meta has to be Ollie. So Ollie has been such a good brawler since he received his first set of buffs about a month ago. And even with a couple of nerfs, he's still easily an S-tier brawler in the meta. That people really wonder why Ollie is so good. It's just all about his super. His super is so good in enabling him to win so many different matchups. So the first point, you just got to be careful of those tanks because you don't normally have the burst damage. But the good thing is you've got your teammates. That's a good thing about Ollie. So you can use your super and gadget in combination for 3.5 second hypnotize. And if you're facing off against tougher matchups, just drag them towards your teammates and they can help you finish off the kill. But most of the time with Ollie, you should be able to confirm kills easily because you do deal a bit of damage with your super as well, landing on them, hypnotizing them. Also, the good thing about Ollie is that he deals pierce damage. So what I like to do a lot of the time is when I'm supering onto one opponent, then I'm trying to like shoot through him and then onto his teammates. And then I'm cycling my super a lot more effectively. So it's making sure you're trying to chain your hypnotize as much as possible. But seriously, a tank, one of the tankiest brawlers in the game that can dash and then got a jump gadget on top of that, of course he's going to be one of the best brawlers in the game. Moving on to the next brawler you must absolutely max out for this season, I've gone with Lumi. So everyone was a bit undecided about Lumi and still are, but personally after playing her a bunch in ranked, I think she's very, very strong. I'd like to see her in pro play this weekend, I think, if she's available in the qualifiers. But with Lumi, I think she's just such a good brawler in terms of control. So of course you want to play her outside of knockout and bounty, but in the ranked rotation there's so many good. Literally the 4 of her modes are just so good for her because her main attack can control the map so easily. It'll take a while to get used to it, but you can just throw out those attacks. And the best thing about it is try and position yourself so you get a good recall, because if you pair that with a second star power, it can slow them for 2 seconds and deal 1,800 damage. So of course if you're hitting someone through them and then recalling it, that's 3k damage a pop. If you can do that with both of your whatever you call it, your axes or whatever, you can deal 6k damage pretty much instantly. So Lumi can just shred. And then of course you got the super on top of that can root opponents, and it can deal some insane damage as well. It takes you a little while to get used to charge it up, but it's pretty much a guaranteed kill every single time. And I've not even mentioned the second gadget. 2 mini lose supers is absolutely brutal. You can just spam this out and it's just control free. And then you can push up the map and just get within range a lot easier. I think Lumi easily is an S-tier brawler on the meta. Next up in the most maxed out list, we have Guju. And I feel like you should have had Guju maxed out by now, because ever since her release, nearly like 6 months ago, I think, she's been an S-tier brawler in the meta, so I didn't really want to include her here, but you have to because Guju is so good. And I think she'll be good forever until they nerf her pet, Gree, because she can do everything. A throw that can go invisible, that can have like unlimited range, that also has a super that can defend her against assassins and just eat up a bunch of enemy ammo. Like, what is there not to like about Guju? The thing about Guju that I love as well is that you can play her pretty much everywhere. You normally want to play her in more like passive game modes like Knockout and Bounty, but you can still get away with her on multiple maps. It's just map dependent brawler. If the throw is good there, then Juju's probably the best thrower option out of everything, because it's really hard to counter a good Guju. Next up on the most max out list, we have Melodin. Even with a big hypercharge rate nerf, I still think easily she could low-key be S-tier. I think for the pros, she's definitely S-tier, but that's only for a select few people. I think it's a little bit harder to play Melody, me myself included. I'm still trying to learn Melody as much as possible. I'm getting a little bit better, but still, it's just every single 1v1 interaction. If you're a good Melody, you can win it with ease with her gadget. Just being able to dash in an anti-clockwise position, you can get some insane damage. And then you have the hypercharge, which easily is a guaranteed kill every single time. And you play her in Heist, which you're not going to do in Ranked, but on Ladder, she's just the best Heist brawler. And again, I just feel like you can make so many plays with Melody, whilst other brawlers you obviously can't. 3 dashes is just still insane mobility, and ever since her release, she's easily been like B, A tier, S tier brawler in the meta, so she's not dropped below that. And I think the only way she drops below that, if they for some reason nerf her supercharge rate, so she doesn't get like 3 dashes, she gets like 2. I don't really see them doing that, so I think Melody will forever be a meta brawler. For the most max out list, we've gone with Gray. So Gray is secretly one of the most broken brawlers in this meta. In my opinion, the Walking Cane gadget is so good with the gadget rework. You can just cycle through supers like crazy. And like I said, I'm always playing him on Bounty and Knockout, or I'm banning him if the opponent's a first pick, because he's just too good into everything. Gray is a brawler, he can counter throwers because of his gadget, pull them through walls, and then once he gets his super, he can counter those snipers, which normally without his super he obviously couldn't, because he's got very limited range. And then you go to different game modes. In Hot Zone, he pairs really well with tanks, and he's pretty underrated in other settings as well. You know, Brawl Hockey, I know it's not competitive, but he's very, very good in Brawl Hockey, probably a top 3 brawler right there. There's just so much to like about Gray's hype charge is really effective as well. He's always going to be an underrated brawler for the most part, because casuals, they can't really hit his main attack. I mean, it's took me a while to get used to Gray. He's got one of the hardest hitting main attacks in the game, but if you know how to, hit those walking canes, you're going to be good to go. So for the most max out list, we have gone with Janet. So my recent tier list, for whatever reason, I put her in the A tier, and that was because I was scared about people saying, oh, Janet got nerfed, she's going to be A tier. But I still think she's an S tier brawler. Personally, I've always said she's an S tier brawler, and she's one of the ones that I end up banning the most in ranks for sure, because a good Janet is hard to stop. She can cycle through supers so quickly, and when you just think you're within distance and you're about to get to her, or she's got a super to escape, and then by the time she's like landed, she's then popped a gadget that stops your health regen, and then by the time you get closer again, she's probably got another super, she's probably got a hypercharge, and then she can just kill you with that hypercharge with ease. The hypercharge rate still wasn't enough in my opinion. 2.5 supers, it should be like 3, maybe even more, because the hypercharge actually is one of the best in the game in my opinion. And it's the fact that whenever Janet's meta, she's always so good in so many different game modes. You can literally play her everywhere. You can play her even Bounty and Knockout even, to be honest. I know she'll get outranged a little bit, but good Janet players, they can always push up the map with ease with her HP. But anyways, what I'm saying is that she's one of the most versatile brawlers in the game, and absolutely must max her out. So one of the most max out lists, we have Mandy. So it's been a little while since Mandy's been meta, and it's of course thanks to her hypercharge. I think in pro play she probably isn't A tier, but in ranked I just think she's an insane brawler. I end up banning her out all the time if it's Knockout and Bounty straight away, because I just can't trust my teammates if anything to dodge a Mandy super. But still, a Mandy hypercharge can connect onto you, you're pretty much dead in those game modes because of that 25% damage boost which she gets, which I'm kind of concerned about. Well, why did they give a 25% damage boost? That's absolutely insane. It also charges really quickly as well. Mandy is a standalone brawler, can get countered a little bit, but once she charges up the hyper charge, which you're probably going to get 2 or 3 in those particular game modes, it's just game over. It's just so incredibly strong, and you need to max her out. On the most max out list, we have B. So if you're talking strictly ranked, she probably is an S tier brawler because of Brawl Hockey. She's insane there. So she's on the cusp of high A tier, low S tier. She's absolutely insane still. So they nerfed the Rattled Hive gadget by only a couple of seconds, I believe, and it's still such an annoying gadget to face off against. But then you got the hyper charge on top of that, and just overall, she's such a fantastic tank counter out there. There's not really other mid brawlers that can compete with the amount of zoning she can do with the Rattled Hive. Because again, if other mid brawlers might counter a little bit, maybe she's a little bit squishy, well, Rattled Hive can just gain you so much control. It forces the opponent's back straight away, or else if they don't push back, they're going to near enough be one shot from this gadget, and a good B can always time it pretty correctly. But as I was saying, she's so good in so many different game modes. I would not play her in Bounty and Knockout, by the way. She just gets countered by the other snipers, but everywhere else, she's just the brawler that you want to go. I can never think of a reason not to go B in like Brawl Ball to counter all of these tanks, especially if the map gets opened up. In Brawl Hockey, insane. Gem Grab, probably not so much, but I still see the pro players use her a little bit. And then, as I said, like in Hot Zone as well, she's just a perfect brawler. Next on the list, we have Steu. So this is just a really obvious placement. Again, I've been recommending to max out Steu, I think, since the beginning of time. He has not dropped below the B tier. He's always going to be super consistent. The only way that he's going to fall off is if they heavily nerf his hypercharge, and I just don't see them doing that. He's always going to be really versatile because he's so good in 1v1 matchups. A brawler that gets a super with one shot, of course he's going to be insane literally everywhere, or if they heavily nerf Zagazza Heal even more, but it's just still such a versatile brawler. I don't even need to go on about how good he is. You guys should know by now. Next on the list, we have Carl. So Carl has risen to glory with the recent gadget rework because of the heat ejector. It is so incredibly strong in those 1v1 interactions, and you can spam it out like crazy. Even the recent set of nerfs, it pretty much did nothing because it's only a couple of seconds. Any meaningful nerf should be around 5 seconds to make it actually not as strong anymore, but you can just literally win everyone 1v1, as I said. And any brawler that counters Carl, you can just gadget them with this, and it will just take care of them. Even if you end up dying, well, the opponent's going to die as well if they're set on fire. And even if you miss this gadget, you're still getting some really good zoning. But of course, Carl is just really good against a lot of brawlers because of the protective Pirouette style power as well. You're able to super onto people and just have so much protection. You can get a free kill. And then a great thing about him as well is the hypercharge. It only takes 2 supers to charge. It's not the best, but you can cycle it quickly. You're pretty much guaranteed, especially on a brawler that has no knockback, to get a kill every single time. And it's the versatility with Carl. Good Carl players can play him literally in every single game mode. He's such a good brawler in the meta. Low-key S tier. Next up on the list, I went with Poco. So Poco got some heavy nerfs to his gadget cooldowns, but he's still absolutely unstoppable in the ranked meta. Pros are literally first picking Poco everywhere in Brawl Ball, in Hot Zone, because you can just switch out the gadgets, and it's pretty hard to come up with a direct counter to him, because if you want to try and counter him, well, he can switch over to his Protective Tunes gadget, and he can save himself against the Lose, you know, B slows, etc. And then if you want to pair him with tanks, you of course use a Tune Fork gadget. There's just so much to like about him. His hyper charge rate as well. I don't think it's the strongest hyper charge in the world, but it definitely was underrated by me personally because you can cycle it very quickly. Just 2 supers, you're able just to get those speed boost, you know, even like a small shield that can really help in a clutch moment. It can be pretty useful, but of course he's going to be better in like Brawl Ball, better in Hot Zone, Brawl Hockey as well. I know it's not competitive, but he's very good in Brawl Hockey, and he's a direct counter to a lot of the meta brawlers like Ollie, for example. If the opponent drafts Ollie and then you go Poco, there's literally nothing that Ollie can do for the whole game because Protective Tunes, it just lasts for so long and has so much coverage. By the time Ollie gets super a gadget, yeah, he's just literally useless. So he's got to be one of the best brawlers in the game right now. Next up on the most maxed out list, we have Angelo. So Angelo is insane in this meta because all of the meta brawlers got nerfed. That just makes Angelo indirectly better. So Knockout and Bounty, I end up banning Angelo out pretty much all of the time because he's got a gadget that can shoot through walls and deal 4k damage. That is absolutely insane. And then the very fast movement speed. Since the beginning of time, I've just not understood personally because Angelo has such insane range, and then you can just fly around the map wherever you want. It's such a hard kill for those other snipers, and it's just a versatility with Angelo. It's insane. And then he's really good in Heist as well, which isn't a ranked rotation, but there's so many water-based maps, which just makes him very good. But he's indirectly definitely got a lot better in the meta. One of the best brawlers in Knockout and Bounty easily. On to the final brawler most maxed out for this season, it has to be Mo. So Mo is fully returned to the meta, in my opinion. opinion. A lot of people don't seem to think that Mo is that strong, but I'm noticing it. There's a lot of maps where he's very, very good in those 1v1 interactions. So the reason why Mo is really good is because dodgy digging gadget is only a 13-second cooldown, and you get a 50% supercharge rate buff for 5 seconds. So you think about that, you're just constantly just cycling these like crazy, and you're gonna have unlimited supers. So I really like that about him, and literally the buff was insane. What was it, 25% reload speed buff? It's just absolutely bizarre. And you've got to realize as well, Mo's super has never been nerfed, and that's by far the best thing about him. Like I said, most people are definitely sleeping on Mo, but from an F tier brawler to at least minimum B tier, in my opinion, like that's a stretch. I think he's A tier easily. He's super versatile as well. You can play him everywhere outside of knockout and bounty. In a 1v1 situation, you are not, you're not surviving against that Mo super. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if there's any brawlers in the comment section which I missed out on. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.